Hi and welcome. I'm Daniel Faudry. I'm the director of the Asaph Dance Ensemble, and I'm accompanied here with our founder, Robin Sturm, and our director of our academy, Grace Tillman. And we're wanting to bring to you a little bit about who and what we are so that you get a better idea of what we do here with our company and with our academy. So thank you, you two, for coming and joining me so we can talk about this.
My pleasure.
So the first question we wanted to address is, who are we? And it's a great opportunity for our director to say, this is how we started. So Robin, how do you?
Well, actually, I'm the founding director, but Daniel and Grace are the directors. Daniel, of course, is the director of the company, and Grace is the director of the academy. And the Asaph Dance Ensemble started actually after the Northern Virginia Dance Academy. I started teaching in my basement many, many years ago. And as I got more students and it became a little more prolific, we thought, well, maybe we better start looking outside the basement and get a building somewhere where I can have more students and more classes. So we found a place and we opened up as the Northern Virginia Dance Academy. And as things progressed, we began to get involved with someone else who was starting something called the Christian Performing Artists Fellowship. And it consisted of musicians from, some of them were from the National Symphony, others were freelance musicians. And we had some professional opera singers and we had soloists. And so we had a professional choir and we had soloist singers, and then we had the ballet company. And so my husband, Bob, and I founded the dance section of that company. And so the whole production was called the Asaph Ensemble. As things progressed, that was started in 1984, a long time ago. And then as things, as a matter of fact, I don't even know if you guys were born yet.
No, nothing.
Okay, we're gonna drop that subject right there. But anyway, that was started a very, very long time ago. As things progressed, the whole Asaph Ensemble started opening a summer camp, an arts camp called the Masterworks Arts Festival. And then a lot of the Aesop directors, the other ones, decided that they wanted to turn their attention to the Masterworks Festival, and they all moved to another state. And Bob and I really felt strongly about having a professional ballet company still in this part of Virginia. And so we kept the name Asaph, but it became the Asaph Dance Ensemble. And the way the name Asaph was chosen originally was Asaph was called God's chief musician in the Bible, in the Old Testament. And not only did he write several of the Psalms, but he rehearsed everybody who were dancing and singing in the original tabernacle. And so since he was so concerned, since God was so concerned with things being done with excellence, we wanted to maintain that name because we think that anything, any arts should be done with excellence. And so that's how we came into being. I still kept the studio, and it was still the Northern Virginia Dance Academy. And so both the Asaph Dance Ensemble and the Northern Virginia Dance Academy were housed in the same facility.
Great. Yeah, we joined partway through. I started dancing when I was 7, so that puts it about 2000.
I don't want to hear that part.
That is crazy. But I remember joining in and being able to perform at Constitution Hall. It was the Hilton Chapel
Yes.
as well, and that's where I came in on things, and you were about the same time, a little bit earlier
I
though,
started
right?
a little bit earlier, the smallest one in all the classes.
Yeah, so we've been, our bread and butter has been here.
Yeah.
From you and all the other teachers, Bob especially.
Yeah.
So
We wanted to do all the performances in large mainstream professional theaters because we wanted to give legitimacy to what we were doing. We didn't want people thinking that we were a little church dance team. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not what our focus was. It was for professional performance. And the theaters, not only did they provide the best facility just for the large ballets we were doing, but it allowed more people to come see us and to benefit from what we were doing.
that's a great segue into our next question is, what's behind touching lives through the performing arts, our catchphrase, our
Mission
summation of
statement.
our mission statement. So how does that play into wanting to go to these large theaters?
We found that we felt that it was really important that when we do performances, that you can watch dance just for enjoyment, and I do all the time, and it's absolutely beautiful, and dancing just for the beauty and the enjoyment of it is wonderful. There is nothing wrong with that. But sometimes we want to go a step further, and we want to actually have the opportunity to make people think, to change their lives, to give them hope, to give them encouragement, and to let them know why we do what we do. We strongly believe that God created the arts, and everything that God created was for the purpose of communicating a little bit of Him, an essence of Him. And so the best way to do that was to have skillful teachers that were going to teach dancers to be skillful. And that way you have a stronger vocabulary, if you will, in dance to be able to reach more and more people. Dance is sort of like an alphabet. Every step in ballet class is an alphabet, and the better you know your alphabet, the better sentences you can create, and the same thing with dance. The better your technique, the more you can speak through your dance. And so that means you can reach more people. And we didn't want people to leave our performances thinking, oh, wasn't that pretty?
Mm-hmm.
We wanted people leaving our performances changed. And that's how that mission statement came about.
It's a wonderful statement. Just to dig in on a little bit of that, how do you see that in some of our productions? I know our Nutcracker is one of those big ones because we take a slightly different look at it than we normally would. So what was the inspiration between changing up the story just ever so much?
Well, actually, Bob wrote the script for it. And for anybody who's been to the Clara's Christmas, they've noticed all of a sudden everything seems to be normal at first, or I should say traditional. It's all normal, but everything seems traditional at first, and all of a sudden you hear a voiceover come in that starts to explain the story a little bit more specifically. And we wanted to do a performance at Christmas that was traditional, and everybody loves the Nutcracker. And even if you've danced in it 125 years, everybody loves dancing the Nutcracker and loves seeing the Nutcracker. But there is a reason why some traditions have lasted so long. And we wanted the message of Clara's Christmas to tell what the real reason for Christmas was. And so people had become so jaded over the years. They go to a performance, a girl gets a Nutcracker, she has a dream, she leaves, she wakes up, let's go home and open our presents. It wasn't enough. There has to be a reason why they are feeling that hope and encouragement and inspiration of the season, which is what Christmas is all about, as we know. So Clara's Christmas was created to still involve all of the elements of the tradition and the beautiful music and the gorgeous costumes, but have one step above that, have that message that people can take home, not just the memory of something beautiful they saw, but the actual truth and feeling of what they saw.
Yeah. And it always reminds me of the phrase, I believe it's from Harold Best. He likes to talk about art having a capital A, and that's our grand art, and then there's art with a lowercase a, which is that small. And it's great to have uppercase A, art, which is, our Nutcrackers, our large productions. Then you have the small a. So going from this large view of how we look at art, performing, how we bring it down to that lowercase, that training side, because we are wanting to bring up new students, new dancers who are capable of that upper A. But how do we foster that love for art, even though you may not be masterful at it, but you love it dearly?
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity as the company reaches out to those who say you can consume the art, you can enjoy it, you can be touched by it, and have that impact of seeing something expressed wonderfully, but we also have what that something is be meaningful. And then we open the door saying, you can be a part of this too. You can learn how to dance, and that's where NVDA comes in. And I'll throw the question towards the two of you and say, how do we see that in the academy term? How do we see that in the training?
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
You're staring at me like you go first. When I first started the studio, as I already said, it was with the intent of presenting the best technique I possibly could. I was trained at the Washington Ballet under Mary Day, and she said that what the method she used was not Vaganova or the Russian technique, but the Russian style. But she employed a technique that was safer on the hips and the knees and the joints, but it was a very artistic, I don't want to say dramatic, because we weren't overly dramatic in class, but it taught us to dance from our heart, not just the feet. But you still need to be able to use your feet and your whole body, again, like you know your alphabet very articulately and very, very well. And I felt that the discipline involved with ballet should not be a harsh, strict, almost a demeaning mentality, but I've always felt that the best way to get someone to do well is to let them know how well they're doing. You don't lie, but you can always find something that they're working on and improving, even if it's just, oh, I see you understand what I'm talking about. That's a really good start. Now let's see if we can tweak that a little bit. And they need to, even if they walk into class feeling tired, long day at school, or on a job, some of them are adults already, they need to walk out of the studio smiling and not walk out feeling discouraged. They need to walk out feeling enthusiastic about coming back and trying again. And I found that the results were phenomenal, using that mentality rather than just berating somebody to get them to turn their leg out when they're not built that way. Some people are so fortunate to be built with that natural turnout and extension and limberness and a loose back and exquisite feet, and already they can jump really, really high like you. But everybody needs to learn to work within their restrictions and then improve on that. But if you start imposing the word perfection on somebody, then everybody's already failed. Perfection is not the standard. Perfect effort is the standard, but being able to achieve physical perfection is impossible. And since you were taking with me since you were a fetus, what?
Just about.
Just about a fetus, you have picked up that mentality when you teach really well. I'm really proud of you for that. So now I'm kicking it to you.
Thank you, yes, and that accepting what the student has to bring to the class, whether it's the little 2-year-olds all the way to our adults, like seeing their smile when they come through the front door, that's just my favorite part of the day, walking in and seeing everyone as they get ready for class. There's just that excitement that we nurture in every student here, where they bring what they have and we help them grow from there, because everyone is capable of dancing well. And that's where our Academy Dance Ensemble, for our students that want to push themselves even farther, with hopes of one day maybe being a part of Asaph Dance Ensemble or branching out to other things, that's where they can get that almost pre-professional experience in.
One of the things I was always especially proud of the students for, the members of the company, of course, but so many came from the studio, but I've always been so proud of them that I don't know what they feel like on the inside, but they exhibit no jealousy. They are so supportive of each other. When one dancer accomplishes something, everybody's standing there applauding. I love it when they're doing fouettes. And the first time, this one little girl, I don't know how she did it. It was the first time she was doing fouettes. And she did 52. And the advanced dancers were looking in the window. She was not an advanced dancer at that point. She was barely on point, a year or 2 years, and she'd been playing around doing fouettes. And the advanced dancers, Aesop, was peeking in the window. Their jaws were on the floor, and they were smiling and almost laughing at this phenomenal. but nobody was jealous and saying, well, she's not doing them very well, or she's not pointing her. No, they were just so encouraging, and each student is so encouraging as each one accomplishes something. Or if they're having trouble, a group gathers around anybody who's having trouble with something and just supports them and holds them up, and they just all love each other so much. And it's just so gratifying to see that is, I don't want to say it's a spillover of what they're learning, but it's so incorporated into what they do when they're dancing. It just shows on stage, I think.
Especially with the online class option now. As soon as we open those classes, all the in-person kids want to rush over to check on the ones that are at home to make sure, you know, like, how are you doing with the class stuff? You know, what are you doing? And then afterwards, they always want to say bye to each other. It's just so sweet, the love that they all have.
Yeah, it shows you two have made it work. I mean, you took over during the worst conditions possible. And you've done such an amazing, phenomenal job that I think that's so beyond awesome.
Well, I wanted to tack on to what Grace was saying about the students wanting to engage with each other, because my nieces and nephews take class here. And for my nephews, they're in our creative movement and pre-ballet. And every now and then I get to hear, either while I'm here or I get to hear it as they're taking class at the house, they can say, oh, can you grab the computer? Or for those little classes, they have a laptop and it's in a bump-proof case. And one of the other students says, oh, can I carry so-and-so? And they run around the room together, taking along the students who can't be in person. So they're still engendering that community sense that it's not just student against student, it's students together and the teachers are trying to lift them up.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderfully silly image,
Yeah.
but
it's great. Well, it's so indicative of their whole mentality and their attitude. And frankly, nobody wants to see a ballet company with one good dancer. You want everybody to come up along with you. And so competition, I mean, healthy competition when you're fooling around saying, let's see how many footes you can do, let's see how many you can do, or working on pirouettes or whatever, or how long you can hold a balance. We've had some, I used to call them bar wars, when they'd be bouncing at the bar and kind of looking at each other and laughing to see who was going to fall down first. That's a different kind of competition, but everybody is so intent on helping everyone do well, because a company is only as strong as its weakest dancer. And so you want everybody to be able to pull up and enjoy each other's dancing together, and to have one dancer that's good and everybody else can just fall by the wayside. I just think it's such a self-destructive mentality.
You were saying about those balance wars, and I was just talking about that. Yeah, the bar wars. I was just talking about that with some of our students the other day. It's to that engender that positive competition, but it's to, in a way, it is encouragement. It's spurring the other person on to go beyond their limit, not to beat the other person, but to challenge themselves.
Yeah. Well, when you see them looking at each other in the mirror, eyeing each other and giggling as they're holding their balance longer and longer, you know they're not angry or jealous of each other. And then the rest of the class just stops and watches and is, you know, come on, go, go. So.
It's, I haven't seen anything like that.
I haven't either, and it's a life skill
that I've visited. It's truly something unique that has to come from the ground up. And I know the two of us are thankful for the training we've received from you, but we're also glad that we can continue sharing that.
So am I.
As faculty, as performers, that it's a whole mindset. It's not just, oh, here's a good idea. You should include this good idea, but it is a curriculum, and it's not just a curriculum for the studio, but in a way, it's a curriculum for life.
Well, it is. It's life skills, and I've always thought that they're so intertwined. Life skills and ballet skills are so intertwined, and one learns from the other. You can't separate them. You shouldn't try to separate them, but when you're getting letters from parents thanking you for how their child feels when they get home from the studio, then you know you're doing something right and something that's touching lives.
So leading from that conversation, we have a great opportunity to talk about one of the things that really separates us from not just companies in general, but local, national, is that we have a large interplay between not just our art, but our personal faiths. So I guess, again, this ties into with our history, is it wasn't just, hey, let's start a new company, let's throw a biblical name onto it, but that idea of pairing it with our mission statement, that phrase of touching lives with the performing arts, there's something heart related that we wanted to look at, and there's something about our faith that informs us how we want to reach out. So how did that phrase come about and the faith start, that faith aspect start with the company?
We used to, the directors, when it was the whole Aesop ensemble with the different arts facets, not just the dance, when we would have our meetings, one of the premises that came out was a lot of people think, oh, they're Christians, they're not going to be very good. And our goal is for people to say, oh, no wonder they're so good. They have faith, they're dancing for a specific reason, they have God in their lives, they are motivated by somebody who is giving them a reason to do what they do. Once you start glorifying yourself, everybody has seen or talked to artists in every genre of the arts world, but everybody has their 15 minutes of fame, and that's it. And the Aesop Dance Ensemble's purpose was not to be famous. It was like a mission statement to touch lives through the performing arts, but when you do something that has a lasting impact, that was our goal. Because as you go through life, especially this year, people who've never maybe experienced hardship before suddenly see what real crisis and hardship is. There is something that there has to be something that gives you a reason to keep doing what you're doing, not just to keep busy, not just to stay focused on something and take your mind off your troubles, but something that gives you a reason. We all are going to experience pain and trials and situations in our lives. I mean, I'm older than you guys, and that's obvious, but my point in saying that is I've obviously experienced a lot more than you have, good and bad. And there is a reason why I keep going. It's because I know I have the Lord in my life. There is a reason why I want to pass it on to you, because I don't mean to scare you, but you're going to go through some stuff at some point. I know you already have. Not to scare you, but that's just a tip. I mean, I'm not, meaning that. Some people don't experience that much until, but my point is nobody's life is all peaches and cream. Everybody's life is going to have trials and tribulations, and we wanted people to find the purpose for continuing on and to keep going. And when we first formed the Aesop Ensemble, that was the purpose, was to be able to promote the gospel, to be able to speak about God, to bring something into people's lives that they might not have heard before. Missionaries go all over the world to underprivileged countries, third world countries, where people are so destitute. And when people think of a missionary, oh, I want to go there, I want to go here and live among these people and try to give them encouragement and help them. But privileged people go to the same hell as underprivileged people. But that, I know that sounds blunt, and I know that sounds, and take that out. But they do. And sometimes the most needy people are those who have everything, because they think they have everything. And so when you're on your deathbed, that's not the time to realize you missed out on something very crucial. So that's why we started what we did, and we felt that our mission field was in the United States. Now, when we were at the Aesop Ensemble, when it was the big group, we went to Russia, went to Jerusalem, different places, but in general, we've been in the United States because, again, the more affluent people feel they have everything, and so they are actually the toughest mission field because they're closed off. They're like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. So.
And comfortability and security isn't enough. Physical and experiential isn't enough for spiritual and heart comfort and security.
Right.
And like you said, those people, they can guard all those other things with, be it the number of friends they can count, money that they can put towards something.
And they can count.
Yeah. So there are guards that they can erect up around their heart that doesn't allow them to deal with things. So we see that the things of this world that we fill up around ourselves can disappear in a moment. We see that in this past year, all the things that we thought were normal came to a crashing halt within a couple weeks.
Well, everyone's security, their jobs.
Oh yeah, you saw people lose jobs, they hold up in their home. And I know a lot of people are still concerned of even venturing out with all the precautions and safeties that are in place because there's this fear, and fear is a heart expression, and
it can be debilitating.
And it really can. You see that some with what we create, what we're looking at creating is to continue reaching out to that heart saying, there's a person in there that's hurt, that's fearful, that's missing something. I love the quote, I've heard it from Lewis, I think it's attributed to he attributed it to someone else, that there's a God-shaped hole in your heart that only God can fill. And it's a great image, and I know some people struggle with that imagery, but there's something that you can fill with many other things, but it just won't satisfy.
Yeah.
So we look at Aesop as being able to have those outward expressions that people can consume our art, consume our media. And in a way, that's easy because that's the capital A art. That's, let's put it out there for display. And I think as we narrow that down, we bring that capital A down to the lowercase a, put it in the studio, the day in, the day out. And I know we leave our academy open saying you don't have to be a Christian here, but that's the motivation for the environment you have engendered, the one you've created that you've passed on, is that there's a heart movement that needs to occur.
The motivation was originally, when I first started the academy, was to teach dance with excellence. I wanted to pass on what I had gotten and what I loved, and I wanted to teach dance with excellence. That was the focus, and is the focus of teaching dance, but it's the inspiration to be able to do that with excellence and to just love every dancer that comes in the door instead of auditioning to make sure they don't have flat feet first. But the motivation to do that comes from God, and there is a natural spillover. Nobody, like you said, is expected to have any specific faith when they come in the door. They're coming to learn ballet or jazz or modern. They're learning to dance, and that's what they learn when they come. So everything else is the motivation of the faculty to do that.
Wonderful. So with that, we're coming to the end of our time, and we've got connections for our Academy Dance Ensemble and the Academy itself. Grace, do you have those?
Yes, so Academy Dance Ensemble will be doing a spring showcase on Saturday, April 24th. It will be on our social medias. It'll be our Facebook Live and then shared afterwards to our Instagram. So you can see what the kids have been working on since January. And our summer programs for students ages 2 all the way through adults. Enrollment for the summer starts June 20th, and then all the summer classes start July 12th. And then if you'd like to follow us on our social medias, the studio is on Instagram at Northern Virginia Dance Academy, just the whole name. And then Facebook is the same, Northern Virginia Dance Academy.
Great. Yeah, and you can follow Asaph Dance Ensemble both on Instagram and Facebook at Asaph Dance. And then coming up on May 2nd, you'll be able to see us perform at the theater at Hilton Performing Arts Center. And then you can catch portions of those following May 2nd. It's a wonderful program, bringing back old favorites, choreography of yours, and we've got a new little project that we are attempting to put out there. My first.
Do I know this?
No, it's called Reflections. This is our pieces on the Psalms, how we bring out
yes, wonderful.
those
Yeah.
laments, those reflections about how we look at this past year. How does our heart respond to it? So in a way, it's a little bit of a summation of everything we've talked about. So you get some wonderful art that's been in our repertoire for many years and something new. So you can catch that all at May 2nd at the Hilton Performing Arts Center.